Owens posted to her story saying she spoke to a source that claims Ryan Reynolds is the problem. She says the tip came from someone who allegedly worked on the set and said lately everyone is bashing Blake Lively, but apparently the true villain of the saga is Ryan.
And Ryan Reynolds, childhood teacher, reached out to me, and I wasn't share it, but I think I have to now because it's super interesting and compelling for those of us that are interested in the psychology.
Alleging that everything started when Ryan Reynolds decided to stroll onto the movie set one day and review the dailies. This is an industry term for all the footage that they filmed for the day. He also decided to take a look at the script, and between the two, something allegedly set him off. This person claims that the production assistant then overheard Ryan and Blake having an argument in her trailer. Ryan Reynolds started being on the set on a regular basis as if he were her chaperone, and that is when he started inserting himself into the actual production, including writing lines. And then she says the next part was alleged in their lawsuits that Ryan and Blake, perhaps in response to her husband's anger, began inserting themselves in the effort to change lines and change scenes. And of course the allegation that Ryan Reynolds was making fun of Justin Baldoni in his movie when he played the character Nightfall. And we did hear this, I believe, from Justin's lawsuit, correct me if I'm wrong, but she also says that allegedly Ryan presented an ultimatum to WME, the biggest talent agency in Hollywood, whose client roster include everyone from Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni.
What I've done today for you guys, I've actually built out a timeline. I will share this on Instagram after the show because the timeline really makes it clear that something very much happened when Ryan Reynolds came home because of the SAG-AFTRA strike that took place in July of 2023.
We will not be having our jobs taken away and given to robots.
So Ryan was away from home because Deadpool was filming in Canada and England. I know way too much about this. And Blake Lively was home because It Ends With Us was filming in New Jersey and she lives in New York. So that would have been like a cab ride back and forth. So they were away from each other at the beginning of this filming.
No black in here today.
And in June of 2023, this is really important, things are so great between Justin and Blake, she invites him into her trailer while she was breastfeeding, okay? She's like pumping in my trailer. This is June 3rd, if you want to work out our line. So he's in there in her trailer, and she is pumping. I shouldn't say breastfeeding, she's breast pumping in her trailer. And this is according to Justin's lawsuit, and he presented this evidence. So this is a fact, essentially. Nothing was wrong between Justin and Blake. You don't invite someone to sexually assault you into your trailer alone. Just a few days after that, on June 14th, is when the Writers Guild of America begins picketing and they halt production. And Justin's lawsuit notes that it was during that lead up to the strike, the big strike, which happened in July 2023, that for the first time, Blake begins requesting to see the dailies. So it's an outrageous request, completely unorthodox, okay, for her as an actress and a producer to be requesting to see the dailies. So like, she's home now. So from this time in June until this strike ends, she is now home, but also Ryan Reynolds is home, okay? okay? I don't know, I feel, and I obviously have no idea, but I feel Ryan said, get me all the dailies. Not saying like, send me the 3 edits or the 3 takes. She just wants the running. Do you know how much time it takes? Like, that's his editor's night. Ryan actually has a book that is published. It's not, he didn't write the book, but essentially, and this is some Comic-Con stuff, guys. Like, literally, like, if you're deep into Marvel Universe or DC Universe, you may know about these things. I definitely did not know about these things, but they create these books, essentially, about all of the movies, and they're sort of these art books. This one's called Marvel Studios, Deadpool and Wolverine, the art of the movie. Essentially what that is, it's a gallery of never-before-seen artwork, which is the description, and exclusive lithographs, and in-depth interviews with the creative team. And so they sit down with these characters, the people that created them, and they ask them questions. And I'm scared. I'm so scared. So I'm going to read you directly what Ryan had to say when they sat down with him to discuss. Nice. The recent filing, we can now see that Ryan was panicked in general about him being apart from Blake Lively, so much so that when they first communicated with one another, okay, so this is the first time that Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni are speaking to one another, and they're exchanging text messages, and Justin Baldoni does this thing where he's just like so nice, and was like, he literally, to sum it up, because I'm not going to read Justin's entire text, he basically is like, I was nervous to even text you, I'm such a fan of you, like, you're so great, you're amazing, your wife's amazing, and then says it's like really almost first day of middle school kind of thing, where he's like, all of this to say, I know I sound ridiculous, but like, I just really want to be friends with you. He literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy, kick in the mouth, and you'll do what I say. So I'm going to show you these exchanges. This is Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni. If you guys have not read through them, I recommend that you go on to the site to read it. He even extends like saying how wonderful Blake was because, you know, she was very nice to his wife, says that Blake sent the sweetest message to his wife. I mean, he's being so respectful, falling over himself to be respectful and to say like, hey, can we still be friends? Ryan Reynolds then sends this text message, and he basically says like, sorry for the delay, I've been writing, the girls are sick again, whatever. Tells him essentially that he hit the jackpot with Blake Lively. She literally passes on every film and every filmmaker all the time. The one thing I know, and I speak from a deep wellspring of experience here, having her in your court. Ryan Reynolds is throwing down some alpha male, and by alpha male I mean extremely beta male, I have rich and powerful friends at the top. That's not a confirmation, but I'm looking at the length of the strip and it's given Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift would say the same. My wife is wonderful, okay? Anyways, jumping back into these messages, he then moved immediately to ask Justin Baldoni to change their production dates because he's never been apart from Blake Lively so long. He basically says he tried to do it on his end. I'm paraphrasing here. You can go read it on the website. You know, I was frantically trying to address this. I was frantically trying to change this, shorten the shoot, but I can't because, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine is set in stone. They already booked the studio. But, like, could you do something to try to punt this? And he ends it with this, which is funny that we're talking about, like, a sexual lawsuit and what's appropriate. He ends it by saying, all this to say, I'd have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum. Okay, so that is the skin between Ryan's parts. I don't even know how to appropriately state that other than perineum. Okay, pull that back up again. I would have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum if he, she, or they can figure out how to start 2 weeks earlier. Completely understand how big of an ass that is, but the perineum is one of the most nervy parts of the human body to expose to trauma.